Macca's Guides.
Hey everyone, Mac here, Doom the Dark Ages, continuing with mission 7 now of the walkthrough. We're going to be equipping the combat shotgun and the Chainshot for now. There are 2 mission challenges. One is for hitting enemies with a fully charged Chainshot, and another enemy is for killing a group of fodder enemies with a shield throw multiple times. We'll work on that as we work on that, but for now, just hop on the turret at the beginning of the mission and take out all of the enemies, including the huge titan that comes through the gate using the laser shot. As soon as you regain control of your character, go ahead and move towards the objective marker, hopping up on the ledge and going inside using a shield charge. And we can start immediately working here on our fully charged Chainshot mission challenge. Once the Mancubus spawns here, just start using your fully charged Chainshot to take them out. And once you do, there is a side room there with a little bit of health, but you can move over the block to reveal a breakable wall behind it. So go ahead and break through the wall to reveal another enemy in here, as well as a couple of quick little gold pickups and a life sigil. You can break through the superheated metal to connect back, and then hop up on the box and begin climbing the tower. I'm going to try to get the mission challenges out of the way as quickly as possible. Generally in this walkthrough, when possible, I'll try to get through those, and I'll also try to get through weapon masteries, which are going to be coming up pretty soon. So whenever you have the ability to work on a mission challenge, I'll try my best to get it done as quickly and as easily as possible. So you can kind of see that I'm farming my fully charged Chainshot attacks here in order to complete this mission challenge as early as possible. I might already have it unlocked in another save slot, which is why you may not see it appear on screen, but just work to it until you get it. There is a gold crate we can grab. We're going to quickly backtrack just to the platform before we entered, and here you'll be able to clamber up a wall towards the chest. You can break it open. I didn't want to approach from this side at the beginning because of how the enemies attack you. So after that secret area and that pickup, you can move forward. Here, as you come onto the balcony, a couple of enemies. Instead of pulling the lever, break through the wall on the left, and here you will get fully recharged with health and armor. Then you can pull the lever and go through the door in front of you.
They're coming for the heart. I'll draw them away from the lifeboats.
Father, don't go alone. Commander, he signed off.
As you enter this arena, there will be a Revenant. The Revenant does look quite different from the previous Doom games, especially Doom Eternal. I prefer the Revenant in Doom Eternal, but this one at least gives us some parryable items and a little bit of variety in terms of the gameplay. I like stunning it when it is possible, and when it's a ghost, you're going to have to parry the projectiles, but just take quick work of it, shock it or stun it with your shield if you can, and then Chainshot does a ton of damage this early on in the game. Once you're able to, you will find a superheated metal latch above your head in one of the corners of the room. You can use your shield to break it down, allowing you to then jump across and end up on the catwalks above. As you climb that last wall, turn to the right-hand side to find a little secret side room, and in that secret side room, you'll find a stack of 8 gold, which you'll want to pick up. There are kind of 3 ways to go here. We're going to go the proper way last. As you exit from that room, look to your left, do a sprint jump to a breakable wall. Once you break through that wall, you can walk across this kind of cylinder. There will be a clamberable wall on the far end. Here you'll find another secret. about 10 pieces of gold on your way up the stairs. And then at the end of the walkway here, you'll find a toy. This is the Pinky Rider, which we'll grab before we navigate back towards that kind of castle we were in. And we'll use the above catwalks here, picking up the gold along the way towards our objective marker, making sure we don't miss any behind. Feel free to open up your map and double check that you didn't leave anything in the previous area. Here we'll have an invisible enemy, which we'll use our shield on before we progress to the next room. Now we will do a quick map check. So we are at 3 out of 9 secrets, 79 gold, and one of the 2 collectibles in the bottom right corner. Additionally, in this next room, you can kill 3 enemies using 1 shield throw if you line them up properly. The most opportunities for that mission challenge specifically happen much later on in the mission, near the end. But if you work on it now, it's something you don't have to then worry about later. In this room, a bunch of enemies will spawn, and then there will be a couple of pickups. There's a side room that you can break through, but I think that's just for armor and for health. There you can see that at the end of that fight, I was able to get the 3 fodder with 1 shield throw. We're going to be working towards that as we play. Pick up any armor and any health you want or can as you leave to the mission objective. And in this next room, there will be a ton of enemies, but there will also be a ton of, like, doors and things that you can't open up. They'll need keys, or you'll need to do like certain little puzzles in order to open them up. So after the battle, you're basically going to leave this room, and we'll be circling back to it momentarily. So a bunch of the doors down here will require a secret key. There's also a couple of locked gates with some items behind them. So let's go ahead and work on grabbing that secret key and then returning back to this area. So go through the door and into the next room. Another opportunity to try to get 3 enemies with a single shield throw, but it won't always work out that perfectly for you. Again, more chances for that later in terms of the mission challenge. For now, a bunch of Hell Knights. I think a Mancubus will spawn. And this battle is pretty straightforward. No new mechanics you have to worry about. Make sure you are using the combat shotgun as a recommendation if you're igniting enemies and using your shield and then meleeing them. You won't ever have to really worry about health, armor, or ammo. We'll do a quick mop-up of the room before we leave. There is a life sigil in a area here, but it's not counted as a secret, and we do return to this room where I'll grab it later. So we'll just go up the stairs, and at the top of the stairs, we'll find a cyber demon, I want to call them. My terminology here on some of the Doom enemies is a little rusty, so I'm going to have to read up before some of the next missions. But just continue following the path, and there will be some more opportunities here to get the Extermination Challenge. Again, that's for shield throwing and killing 3 fodder enemies with a single shield throw. Just work on that if you don't already have it. You also get some gold and some rewards for it, so make sure you grab those. And then in the next room, instead of turning to the left, turn to the right. Here you'll be able to bash through a wall, finding a secret. An enemy does follow me in here, but as you kind of make your way around the corner, you do have the opportunity to pick up a 8 stack of gold and a bunch of small pieces of gold as well. and then you'll be able to locate a man cannon on the balcony here that'll shoot you across, and you'll land directly on the secret key, which you'll automatically pick up. Once you do get the secret key, go into the next room in front of you, take out the shielded enemies, as well as this spider guy, which I will definitely know the name of in the next chapter. You can break open the latch in order to link yourself back, but instead of linking back to the hallway, turn around and drop down past the pieces of gold. You'll drop down on some health and more pieces of gold, and then the gates will open. Once these gates open and you grab that, go across the room to the other newly opened gates, and you'll find 2 stacks of gold. Pick up both of them. However, you will get locked in this room. There will be some fire that's being ejected from the sides of the room, which can do a lot of damage very quickly if you're not careful or aware that you're getting hurt by that fire. Take out a couple of the enemies. I'm going to be using my combat shotgun here just as a trusty sidekick. We're going to be switching up the weapons a lot more in the rest of the walkthrough as we work through Masteries, but pretty early on in the game, you don't really have to do, you can just use whatever you want. As you exit after that battle, you can use your secret key on the right-hand side. In that secret area, you can find a ruby as well as a mancubus. Pick up the ruby, take out the mancubus, and then just past the mancubus, you can link yourself back up to where we came from kind of earlier, but we actually don't want to be up here because there is one more secret room that we kind of missed, but there are some enemies here. So I decided to quickly take them out, and we'll drop back down into the open area that we kind of came from, where we first entered here. And then as you drop down, I might pull up the map here really quick, but to the right-hand side, as you're trying to go from this huge open area into the hallways, there's another area where you can use your secret key. Use that secret key, you'll get a secret area, a bunch of small pickups of gold, and in the room at the very end, there is a shielded enemy, which I don't do a terribly good job at killing, but at the end of that hallway, you can find a Codex page, and then you can link yourself back into the room where we killed the mancubus earlier. I did mention that there is a life sigil in this room, so if you go to the end of the hall and hook around to the left, you can look into the wall, shield charge through it to pick up a life sigil, which you may need if you've, unfortunately succumb to some enemy damage. It does actually end up counting as a secret. For some reason, I thought it didn't. Not all life sigils end up counting as secret areas. Kind of depends the context, I guess. But we'll go ahead and now continue moving towards our main objective. After this little section, you may want to quickly break through the wall using the shield dash in order to refill on some health and armor. I do occasionally call it a shield dash instead of the official name, which is the shield charge. My bad. It is what it is. It feels like a shield dash to me, but I guess I'll try to call it a shield charge from now on. As you enter towards this elevator, I believe this is a point of no return, so let's do a quick check on collectibles. 7 out of 9 secrets, 125 gold, 1 ruby, and we do have both of the collectibles in the bottom right corner. As you clamber up this wall, there will be a bunch of enemies pretty much waiting for you. I do like using the Chainshot, although I don't know if it's maybe the best choice for this section specifically. I'd recommend taking out the superheated shield enemies and then the Hell Knights. This Hell Knight just chases me around, and to be honest, I think the Hell Knights are what causes like 90% of the damage I take in this walkthrough. There will be a Revenant, very easy once they're in the ghost kind of phase. Just parry those attacks back, shock it with your shield throw, and then finish it off with some high damage attacks or melee. And once all of the enemies have cleared, you do have a ruby on a platform kind of overhead. So make sure you grab that ruby before you leave. It can be a little bit tricky, as I'm not sure it shows up on the auto map unless you're like pretty much at it. For a lot of the collectibles, they will show up on your auto map, but a lot of them don't, especially the ones that are off the beaten path or very well hidden. Based on how the auto map functions, some of them you would never know where they are unless you are already at them. So make sure you do grab that ruby, and then you can move forward. Once you break through this wall and kind of go through this close quarters ship hallway, there is a quick little stack of 8 gold off to your left, which is decently well hidden behind a superheated latch. So we're going to make sure we grab that, as this one can be pretty easy to miss if you're not paying close attention. It's kind of not a regular place that they often have collectibles, and immediately after the collectible, there's a point of no return as you drop off the ship. Take care of a couple of the enemies here, and in this area there's a couple more enemies, but also I believe some of our kind of last little collectible things we'll want to grab before we finish things off. So a lot of enemies will spawn. We're going to just make quick work of them, and then the things we'll want to focus on is clambering up the obvious wall, turning to the left through the broken wall, and then here you can use your shield toss to reveal a wall that you can now climb up. But instead of climbing up that wall, drop down and look at the 2 boxes. There's a spinning fan, which has now revealed a secret area that has a life sigil inside. And additionally, near that climbable wall, we now can go under it, and this will reveal another secret that reveals a golden chest for 50 more gold. If we open up our auto map, we're at 183 gold. 2 of the rubies, 9 out of 9 secrets, but we do have some demonic essence to get soon.
Emergency protocols are in effect. Please clear the hangar immediately.
This coming up right here will be our final little combat arena of Mission 7. This is one of the hardest areas of combat in the game up to this point. I remember playing this game for like the first playthrough, and this was one of the only parts where I was down to so little health. I thought I was actually going to end up burning a life sigil. There's a lot of pretty hard-hitting enemies, as well as a lot of melee enemies. I would always recommend going for the enemies that are like meleeing you and up in your face. I end up kind of not doing that originally, but it is something that I adapt a little bit later on in the walkthrough. And there will be a leader that does spawn. I would recommend this enemy that I'm fighting right now. I'm keeping my distance, but you should probably be a lot closer to me closer to it than me in order to be flushing out the parryable attacks. The leader will spawn, and the leader will give us a permanent upgrade to our maximum health. So we'll take care of that. I don't really have many pointers other than parrying when possible. I end up using my Chainshot just because I was having fun using it, and it is a new weapon, so I thought, why not use it? If you're hitting your parries, unlike me, you'll be fine, but if you're not hitting your parries like me, you'll have very little health.
Demonic signals are moving to King Novik's position.
With the leader taken out, you can do a quick sweep for armor, ammo, and health, and then we'll be using this kind of crane in order to climb up, and then we'll be able to walk across the ledge. It might be a conveyor belt, maybe it's a crane, not 100% sure. And then we'll be able to do a shield toss and a grapple over. As we land, there will be a sentinel shrine directly in front of us. Let's interact with it. We have quite a few rubies and a decent amount of gold. In terms of upgrades that I will be purchasing here, I'll quickly grab a shield upgrade, the harvester upgrade, as well as the gravitational flux upgrade for the Chainshot. That's going to burn up all of my rubies. And then I'm going to quickly purchase the amplify ability for the cycler using my gold. And then we'll be able to come out of the Sentinel Shrine, past the gate in order to end off the mission, verifying that we got that 100% chapter complete, and we'll be as good as done. You know the drill. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to everyone on Patreon for supporting the show, and hopefully I see you soon. Peace.